everybody. Welcome to the Heart of New Jersey podcast. I'm Kira, your host, and alongside me we have Jordan from Main Street Cheese. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
So today we are going to be putting together a awesome charcuterie board. I'm so excited for this. As someone who has tried to make a charcuterie board at home, I think it's so overwhelming. I don't know where to start. I'm like, I know I need meat, I know I need cheese, and that's about it. I'm like, and maybe some fruit, I don't know. So I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm really excited to get into this and see all the different options and combinations that we could put together. If you want to just tell the listeners a little bit about Main Street Cheese and how you got started here.
Of course, yeah. So Main Street Cheese is actually almost exactly 1 year old, March 2024. We opened and did a few local events and pop-ups. Then proceeded to do all the farmers markets for the season, both in Somerville and Bedminster, New Jersey. That did really, really well for us, and people are like, when are you opening up a storefront? We actually happened to be renting some prep and fridge space here at 92 West Main Street in Somerville from a friend, and the lease came up for grabs, and we took it over November 1st. Turned over the space from a hot dog stand to what you see here, and opened up November 30th. So
awesome.
Yeah, that's the story.
Yeah, and you guys are hosting a lot of events and whatnot here now too.
Yeah, so the holidays were wonderful. We kind of got our footing and did a lot of boards and catering. And then as things slowed down in the new year, which is super common for especially grocery retail, we decided to kind of amp up an event strategy, and so we hosted 4 events in January, and I think about 10 in February, and maybe even 14, I think, in March.
Wow.
So we're really going for it, and people are super excited. We keep selling out of almost every single one. So the town and the community are really excited about just being here, being in the space, geeking out about cheese and all things
Everybody loves cheese.
So this is actually what I'll be doing with you, Kira, is a little bit reminiscent of our charcuterie board workshop that we do in this space, where we do walk through like how to build a board and kind of, do the basics of that, and everyone leaves with their own board. So
that's awesome. So I'm so excited to get into this. Do you want to go over a little bit of like how you source your ingredients?
Sure, yeah, for sure. So we have a few suppliers, both local and a international supplier. We have 4 farms that we source from locally here in New Jersey. That's Bobolink out of Milford, Valley Shepherd in Long Valley, Cherry Grove in Lawrenceville. Then our 2 suppliers for everything else, including like Cornichon, the little pickles, olives, our charcuterie, and a lot of international cheeses we get from Gourmet Foods International and World's Best Cheese. Those are our 2 main big cheese suppliers, where we get those like massive wheels.
Yeah.
The big wheel of Parm.
Yes,
Parma.
love that. All right, so I guess, do you want to get right into it and start with? Yeah. I mean, I don't even know where to start. So this is your profession.
Well, I think the thing that I love about charcuterie boards and just the art and science of it all is that it's super customizable. You don't have to do one thing or another thing. You don't have to follow really much of what I'm saying. You can kind of go for it. You can do just cheese and meat, like you were saying, or you can add a lot of other elements that will kind of accompany those things. So kind of my method is always an odd number of cheeses. I think that really balances out the board, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So we're going to do 5 cheeses on this board, and then kind of start with the cheese and build around that. So we're going to do 5 cheeses, maybe 3 to 4 meats, and
so you normally start with the cheeses.
Yeah, I always start with the cheese.
Okay.
Number 1 cheese, because that's what everyone's here for.
Yes.
And as far as picking which cheeses, my kind of go-to method is if it's 3, then it's going to be a soft, a hard, and maybe a blue, or a soft, a hard, and maybe something a little bit more funky, like a truffle cheddar, or a something spicy.
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't like blue. And then if it's 5 cheeses, I kind of expand upon that. I love different colors, different textures, different milk types.
Yeah.
So the 3 main milk types, we have our sheep, milk, and cow. So I chose 5 cheeses already for us.
Okay, awesome.
We have a 2-year Gouda. This one's from Holland, where all good Gouda is from. It always has this crazy wax rind, which you can use on a board and make it look really pretty.
Yeah.
Or you can just cut it off because it is not edible. It has wax on it.
Okay, that was my next question.
Yeah. And Gouda is delicious on a board. Gouda is delicious in general.
Yeah.
It's super snackable, especially an aged Gouda. Has this really kind of deep yellow-orange color. It has a lot of nuttiness, a lot of crystals that have been formed in the aging process. So this is a really good cheese to use. It also always tends to add a little bit of that color as opposed to like a white or yellow cheese.
Definitely.
We're gonna go classic and go with a brie. So everyone loves brie. This is a quarter wheel wedge of brie from France. So we're gonna go with that.
I ate so much brie when I was in France.
Oh, yeah?
Oh my god, unreal.
Ooh, yeah. I can't wait to go to France on some sort of like
a cheese. Yeah. Cheese excursion.
We're going with a classic Parmesan. So this is not always that common on a cheese board, but I think it's really snackable. People like to shave Parm on food and use it for cooking a lot, but I actually think it's really delicious on its own.
I wouldn't even
or with
thought of using that for a charcuterie board. That's awesome.
And then we have a blue cheese over here. This is a huge chunk of Statesboro blue cheese. It has a lot of that veining, and I'll talk a little bit about how blue cheese is made. Yeah.
Some people are so grossed out by blue cheese. I'm like, it's one of the best cheeses.
If you kind of get over that hump of like this is gross.
Oh my god.
It opens your palate to such wonderful things. And then our 5th cheese is on this G-roll. The piece of equipment I'm using is called a G-roll. The cheese itself is called Tête de Moine, which means monk's head in French. It's a really simple cheese. It has a lot of intense
it smells
nose,
so good.
but the taste is actually really muted. And I'll have you kind of make a little cheese flour if you are willing to. Here, probably over here, we can move this guy. So you're gonna hold down the base.
Okay.
With your non-prominent hand, and then turn that by also pressing down, and keep going, keep going. And it's gonna curl into itself.
Oh my gosh. Wait,
and make a little cheese flour. Keep going. You can keep going. You can press down a little less.
Gosh, it gets...
Yeah, you can leave, lighter, a little bit lighter. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yay.
Okay, so this will look beautiful on a board.
Oh my gosh.
Gotta, pull it on.
Are there only certain cheeses that you can use this with?
This is the only cheese you can use this with. Yeah.
Wow.
So, it looks beautiful if you kind of build a little
It doesn't even look like cheese
on the board.
Yeah,
exactly. That's a little kind of fun thing to do. This cheese is kind of hard to find, so that's typically not something you can find in a grocery store.
Only here.
Only here. Okay, so let's start by cutting some of the cheeses.
Okay.
So this Gouda, you can choose to keep the rind. I think that'll be a really nice element on such a big board. Okay. So this is our large size board that we sell for catering. It's called the Feast. So it goes petite, fair, fête, feast are our sizes. We like the kind of French naming.
And how many people would this typically feed?
Around 20.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So perfect for parties.
Yeah, it depends on exactly what else you're gonna be serving with this cheese. Or sorry, with this platter.
Yeah.
So I took off the rind. This is again not edible, but it looks really kind of cool on the board, and I don't know exactly where I'm gonna put it, but I'll play around with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so all these beautiful chunks are gonna go back into the rind, but in an edible form.
Oh my gosh, how cool.
So yeah, this is an interesting styling element.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of keeps all the cheese in one spot, too.
Right, exactly. It's like, oh, now I can kind of see where this cheese is from, because it says so on the rind.
Yep.
And I can, also eat it really easily.
Yeah.
Okay, we can move on to our brie. So we don't need this big guy.
Okay.
For
Question
the brie.
about brie.
Yes.
So brie has like this rind around it already, but it's edible.
Yes. Yeah.
What is it made out of?
Bacteria.
Oh, okay.
Most cheese's rind is edible. Actually, two of the cheeses that we're using today are not. It's the Parm, just because it has a little bit of wax. It's extremely, extremely, extremely hard. It's actually not going to taste good at all, even if you tried it. This one actually has full wax on it, but almost every other cheese you can eat.
Okay.
And should eat, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I made this little brie pastry one time for one of my holidays, and my family was like, you can't keep that on there. I'm like,
why not?
No, you're supposed to.
Do you want to try this one? So now we have two equal triangles, and we can do a lot of different things with it. We can keep going and do like small wedges. We can cut off what is called the nose. The pointiest part of the cheese now, and then kind of bias cut the rest.
So is it typically served in like a triangle shape?
Typically, yeah, because you kind of want some rind and you want some paste.
Definitely.
So that's kind of the main gist of it. So I'm gonna go bias cut into triangles the whole way down.
Okay, cool.
And it'll kind of
you have to have a really sharp knife, I feel like, to cut brie, otherwise it just smushes.
Yeah, so this one has holes in it, and that's cool for soft cheeses because it doesn't smush with a large blade the cheese, because this is soft.
Yeah.
So we can kind of like do similar to what we did with the Gouda and kind of have like mama piece, baby pieces. That's a really like fine way to plate brie, or we can cut both.
I love when people make those little brie with the puff pastry around it.
Oh my gosh, baked brie is delicious.
Yes, so good.
Delicious. All right, let's cut up this Parmesan.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this is cut.
Yeah, it's gonna be, so Parmesan is always pretty crumbly.
Yeah.
And that's what lends itself to be so good, shaved on top of pasta.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be the easiest thing to like evenly cut, but it is, I'm gonna do my best. Build upon it. Okay, cool. Then our blue guy.
Yay!
So here's our big chunk of blue. And blue is really awesome because all you really have to do with blue is place it on your board and then use a knife kind of like this one to crumble the front part of it. So meat and cheese are best friends, and
yes,
again, you kind of just want a variety of textures, flavors. So something like, you don't want to do too much prosciutto or all prosciutto. It's
I
so
would
light.
be fine with all prosciutto.
It's really light. It's gonna go with a lot of the cheeses on your board, but I wouldn't necessarily pair prosciutto with like Parmesan maybe, because I'd put Parmesan is like kind of like a little bit simpler of a cheese. I would put something like a hot sopressata.
Oh, yum. And that kind of like tones down the hot, but brings out the flavor of the cheese.
Exactly, yeah. And the salted fennel will go really well with the blue. It'll also go really well with the Gouda, and that's because the fennel flavor like isn't gonna overpower, but it will stand up to a big flavor like blue. It'll stand up to a big nuttiness like the Gouda. And then, I said hot sopressata and prosciutto. So those are the 3 meats I've chosen.
Yum.
I'm going to use my champagne glass.
That was my next question. I was like,
why does she have a champagne glass?
How and why?
So I hope it's going to work with this meat because you really want a very thin sliced meat to build a meat flour.
Okay.
So these
I have tried to do this before, and
it didn't work out?
No.
Okay, well, we'll try
I'm like,
again.
I need a full lesson.
Do you want to get hands-on?
Sure.
Okay, so you're just gonna build around each layer. Probably gonna do like 4 different layers of this meat. So just layer it a little over the next one.
All right.
And keep going. Really. One thing I didn't talk about is texture and color. So we talked a little bit about color with the cheeses. So I chose a blue and orange, kind of more like paste colored, and then our classic very white brie. And you want those kind of in different places on your board too.
Yeah.
And then texture-wise, so this is a lot more soft of a cheese. So is this. These two are pretty hard, and this one's your classic blue, crumbly. So yeah, that's an important note for texture.
It definitely like draws the eye around the entire board too.
Yeah. So we can do our last meat, your favorite.
My favorite, prosciutto.
I will say prosciutto is one of the hardest things to handle appropriately.
Without tearing it
without tearing it apart. So here's what I do. I take the prosciutto, peel it off of itself, and it's gonna start to come apart.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of
that's just what it is. Yeah.
It is what it is. But it naturally has a separation from the rest of the meat slice. So I'll pull the other meat slice off so you can see the full thing. Bear with me. Okay, so this is the full slice, but it's naturally separated into 2 pieces. This one has a beautiful fatty outside, so I'm gonna use that to my advantage in presentation. So I'm going to make it kind of one size by folding it up onto itself. Make it one size vertically like that, and then start to just roll it and keep that fatty part at the top.
Beautiful. And
now it just looks like a cute little, almost like a rosebud.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go along that side of my Parmesan. done the cheese and the meat, and now we do the salt and the sweet.
Yay!
So for this is really dealer's choice. So I like to use a mixture of like those really salty elements. The Castle Vetrano olives are my favorite. They're really green.
They are very green. If you can't tell, yes. They look delicious.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of like the red and black olives. They're fine. They have their time and place, but they're not going to be my first choice. So I typically go for this.
I mean, especially because it's such a bright color, adds so much like depth to the board.
I will say a lot of times it's good to put the stuff that comes in brine, so the olives or the cornichons, or we also have peppadews that come in oil.
Oh.
To put those in a separate little, if you have little mini bowls, that's a really great way to keep that that moisture from getting onto the board and kind of messing with the cheese or the meat.
Yeah.
Or even sometimes the crackers and bread if you put that on your board.
Definitely.
So I'm gonna, because we have them, I'm gonna use our little bowls and kind of show you how to play with that if you have
awesome.
this at home. So we're very close.
Very
stretch,
almost
ladies
full.
and gentlemen.
Yes.
Let me get my other. So we already added the Marcona almonds. I always like to do a minimum of 2. Ken's gonna smell that.
Oh my god.
So these are candied pecans. They're like, oh my gosh, I have to break them up a little bit. Adult. Okay, so I'm gonna cut it in over here. I'm going to maybe go in there. Okay.
It's nice to kind of like spread it around because then someone doesn't feel like they're picking on top of somebody else.
Exactly. And you can always like adjust as you go too. Like maybe I don't like how I did the free and I want to like redo it.
Yeah.
Cheese and meat, very forgiving.
Thankfully.
Charcuterie boards in general, very forgiving.
Yes.
Okay, so I have one more pocket here, maybe a little bit more. So a lot of people like to put crackers on their boards. I'm not a big fan. And the reason is crackers, if I'm building a board at home, maybe I will because it's gonna get eaten right then and there.
Yeah.
But crackers tend to get like gross on a board.
If you're
the
putting
cheese
this in the
meat.
fridge for the next day, you want to put your crackers in the fridge.
Yeah,
That would be soggy the next day.
Exactly, yeah. So
Makes sense.
I kind of tend to avoid that as much
Yeah.
as I can.
Ooh.
I am a big fan of just like adding an extra touch of, I don't know, loving like kind of just like beauty to the dish or to the board. And so these are not edible, but just like giving
just to add another element to
that
it.
little extra pizzazz.
Yeah, definitely.
Rosemary is a great thing to do this with.
And rosemary is edible.
And rosemary is edible. Good point. So rosemary looks beautiful
on top of the brie.
on top of brie
Yum.
or any other white.
Yeah, the contrast with that.
This might be a little bit too much pizzazz, but like.
No, there's never too much pizzazz.
So yeah,
Oh my
like
gosh,
a little bit of
that is
greenery.
incredible.
And then when we give boards to our customers, we always top it with some chocolate
Oh,
because
you have to.
who doesn't like chocolate and
Love it.
cheese? And
Yes. Can't go wrong. Great combo. Yeah,
right.
that's awesome.
So that's our board.
Well, this was amazing. I am, the little honey.
Little honeycomb.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Now I am going to be a professional charcuterie board maker for all my next holiday parties, and I'm gonna whip it out and they're gonna be like, "Where'd you learn that?" Be like, Main Street Cheese. So this was awesome. Thank you so much for having us and for giving us a little lesson. And where can people find you?
Yeah, so our Instagram handle is @MainStreetCheese. You can find us on Facebook as well. And then our website is mainstreetcheese.co. You can always email me, Jordan, @mainstreetcheese.co. Or you can come to the shop at 92 West Main Street in Somerville. I'm always here, so pop in and say hi. I'll get you to try some new cheeses that maybe you have never tried.
Yeah, and make sure to sign up for events in advance because they sell out quickly.
They do.
So if you're interested.
They are popping.
Yes, awesome. Well, this was great. Thank you
so much, Kira.
Thank you.